What up, gents? Yes, yes, boys. We are live. Are we? What's going on, gentlemen? Today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. The time is 4:36 p.m. And today we will be talking about speech and tone while you're flirting with girls. This this topic was sparked by one of the members in the school community, rock solid member who's always posting his audio infields for us to audit. And so he's been improving a ton over the past just few days of getting feedback, and he bestowed another audio infield upon us. And so I gave him some feedback. I noticed some things, and I noticed some patterns that he's got going, and so wanted to talk about them in hopes that it can help him expedite the process of learning to approach effectively, getting girls to stop, lining up dates, and then having a fun, magical dating life that he's after. Okay. Firstly, hit a Amazon delivery shift earlier today, and I closed the door. I closed my car door on my fingers. So you can see this one's a little blue and swollen, but fuck, that was so painful. Oh my God. I was immobile for like 60 seconds. I was just doubled over, like, oh my God, this hurts. But we're all good. Iced it, popped some Advil, so we're good to go. But yeah, that was just painful. I wanted to share that. That sucked. I learned my lesson, huh? I got to move slower. So, so how did I come up to this topic? Is one of our guys made an infield or an audio post on the school community, and I noticed a couple of things in that infield as well as a few previous ones that he had shared, which was his speech patterns in general, and then specifically his tone. Okay, so with the speech, what I noticed is he tends to speed up in certain points when he's talking and slur his words together. And it makes it really difficult to hear what he's saying, even as me, the person who's listening to it, and playing it back and listening again, like, what was that? So, especially to the girl that he's talking to, he'll kind of like group a phrase together, but he'll just say it so fast that it kind of comes out mumbo jumbo and it's unclear. And a reason why this is a big problem is because then the girl goes, huh? What? And then he has to repeat himself. And then maybe again, huh? Right? She's going, what? And then he has to repeat himself. And it's just not a good look. All right. So that's something you could easily correct. And then the tone, I noticed it's very monotone, and it sounds the way that I phrase it is, it sounds like the teacher called on you to read like a paragraph out of a textbook to the whole class. I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I had to do that, I wasn't even thinking about what I was reading. I was just trying to not like fuck up the words. So there was no emotion in my voice. It was just like, all right, Johnny landed Johnny walked up the hill and picked a few apples, and then he went down to the store to buy some. And there was no intonation in my voice at all, and that is what I was picking up on during his conversations. Now, a culprit could be that he's nervous, right? Or maybe he is thinking of what to say, and so he's so worried about what he's going to say, he's not paying any attention to how he's saying it. But honestly, a lot of this ends up being pretty natural. Like what you'll notice on my live streams even is the way that I'm speaking. Yeah. So some parts of the live stream I'm talking pretty monotone and like kind of like this, right? And then sometimes I'd get more animated and I'm like, oh my, you look so good. Wow, and I get more animated and there's like more fun kind of peaks in my tone and in my conversation. Now, I want to clarify. I'm not saying this is required. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to do exactly what I do to find success in an approach. This is just how yeah, so this is just what I do and how that has helped me achieve specifically my dating life. Yeah, so there probably are plenty of other people out there that have very similar results and they do it in completely different ways. So maybe their advice would be somewhat conflicting. But if you're tuning into my channel and you watch my infield and you're looking to get similar results that I get, and this is how I do it. All right. So speech and tone when flirting. So firstly, how your voice sounds. Secondly, how clear your speech is. Okay. So one very common thread in the red pill community, which I don't associate with. I pay I pay my respects because they unlocked this whole thing for me, and I was like, whoa, there's strategy around this. I can improve, but I distance myself, right? Because there's just a lot of negativity in that space. But one of the pillars is that you need to have no emotion in general, right? They tell guys you need to be emotionless, you need to be stoic, right? And then more specifically in conversations, I remember watching videos from other guys when I was researching this stuff back when I was 18, 19 years old, and they would say, like, you want your voice to be very masculine, and in order for it to be masculine, you want there to be no traces of emotion in your voice. And so guys would take this to heart, and they would just start sounding like robots, or like I wrote on the whiteboard, they'd be giving off serial killer vibes. Yeah. So I'd say that this is decent advice for beginners, because I kind of get where they're going with this when they say you're trying to take the emotion out of your voice. I, from my perspective, they're talking to guys that currently talk like this. And every time they get around a girl that's cute, they all of a sudden they get giddy and they get super excited and they're like, "How are you? Oh my God. What are you up to today?" Yeah. And when they're with their friends, they're talking like this. "What up, dog? Yeah. Yeah, let's play some beer die, bro. Let's go. Come on. What are we doing? Let's hit the beach." But as soon as they get around the cute girl, all of a sudden it's like, "Yeah, you want to go to the beach? Yeah, let's go to the beach." So from my perspective, the people that preach that content are talking to guys that are in that position, right? That haven't paid any attention to how their voice tends to shift when they get around girls that they're interested in. All right. But for guys that are, let's say, they're aware of that now, they've listened to themselves on recordings and can kind of tell what's going on, and then they're going in for approaches. You don't want to sound, now once again, this is how the reason I preface it is because I've watched Christian's more recent infields, Joseph's infields, and they actually do just fine with a very low energy, like not much like peaks in their voice, if that makes sense. So they just have such a presence at this point. They've done so many approaches, and they're just so I don't know, they're just so like mature with their approach that they could even just, I'll listen to an infield with Christian, and it's like maybe he doesn't even crack a smile except for when he first approached her, and the rest of the conversation is very mellow, and he is talking to her pretty monotone. But it's like that's more advanced level stuff. Yeah, he's able to get the girl laughing without needing to put on any theatrics. Yeah. Whereas I see myself, I'm still in a position where, like, yeah, I can have a very chill conversation with a girl, but still oftentimes I notice, especially in my infields, I'll get more animated in certain points. And I don't, one can argue that that's better or worse, but I just see it as different. This is just my style, my flavor. And so, I took the blueprint from Christian, and then I just kind of wove in my own personality into the playbook. And so there you go. I get great results also with my own personality and my own way of speaking and stuff. Okay. So I disagree with that whole red pill theory of like, you want to remove any, oh, what up, Mo? Good to see you, dog. You want to remove any traces of emotion from your voice when you're speaking to the girl, blah, blah, blah. So let's give some examples, right? So in this audio infield, he walks over, he says, "Excuse me," to the girl. "Excuse me." She goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You look beautiful." And he goes, "Yeah, I saw you as I was walking by. I had to come over and talk to you," something like that, right? And then she goes, or he goes, "What are you up to?" And she says, "Oh, I'm just headed to work." He goes, "Oh, nice. What do you do for work?" Right? So still staying on the very same track as far as how he's speaking, voice inflections. And then I don't think she said she's a waitress or something. And he goes, "Ah, I see, you're a waitress serving dishes, huh? Ah." She goes, "Yep, yep." Then there's like an awkward pause, and then he goes, "All right, well, you're not giving me much, so I'm gonna," or I think he gives some more context about himself. He goes, "Nice, yeah, I'm headed to work too. I have work at 1, so this is just my chill time. I'm gonna be hanging out in the sunset right now." And it sounded like he was just called upon in a classroom to read the textbook out to his classmates, and not like he was in front of a girl flirting with her. Yeah. And so how I would have changed that, I'll just use myself and my own experiences in that conversation. So rather than him doing that approach, it's me doing that approach. So, "Excuse me. Yeah, you look incredible. You look incredible." She goes, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was walking past and I was like, oh my God, she looks good." So they're very minor, right? Very, very, very minor inflections and intonations in my voice. But can you hear the very slight difference between like, "You look beautiful" and "You look beautiful"? Like, "You look incredible," right? It's not huge. It's not like I'm going off the rails like, "Oh my God, you look so incredible. Like, I'm not overly animated, overly effeminate. I think I'm using that word right. I don't know, but do you see like the just a slight tweak, right? It's like I'm putting emphasis on certain words that I want to emphasize, and and then in other sentences, like excuse me, I'm trying to say it in a very assertive way. So like that would make sense, right? Red pill theory. Oh, you don't want to have an emotion in your voice, right? So in that case, I'm going, excuse me. Yeah, that sounds very monotone. But then when it comes to giving off a compliment, I'm going, you look, you look you look absolutely incredible right now. Like you look so good, right? Versus you look absolutely incredible right now. You look so good. Yeah, you hear the difference. Yeah. Okay. So now we're moving on. She goes, "Thank you." I go, "Yeah, I passed you. You look so great. I had to come over and talk to you. What are you up to?" Right. So that would be, you're hearing that line. What are you up to? That sounds very monotone, right? Makes sense. What are you up to? And then she says, "What? I'm headed to work. Oh, nice. What kind of work are we talking? Oh, I'm a server." Then I would, my own personal experience. I served at a restaurant briefly, so I'd probably say something like, "Yeah, I used to be a server too." Honestly, I hated that. But like, notice the tiny incremental little changes, right? So I could have said, honestly, I hated that. Yeah, I used to be a server too. Honestly, I hated that. Like, I really didn't like it. And I'm giving off robot vibes versus, yeah, honestly, I used to be a server too. I hated that. Like, I used to hate having to pick up after people. Sometimes they tried to make me clean up throw up on the ground. I was like, nah, you guys, you're paying me to serve dishes and bust tables, not clean up throw up. What's going on here? So you see how I'm able to inject emotion and emphasis into my sentences without the upward inflection that people tell you need to avoid, right? So it's like I'm not s- I don't I'm able to inject emotion into the conversation while still sounding sure of myself, while still sounding confident in myself. One could argue even more confident in myself because I'm able to add this into the conversation rather than it being completely flatline monotone the entire time, right? So rather, it's like, I don't know. This is a little more difficult to discuss over a live stream, honestly, which is why I'm glad I'm gonna be putting together the paid community so that we can actually do this live over Zoom or over FaceTime or whatever we end up doing. But do you kind of get what the point that I'm trying to get across here is like I'm not saying you need to be like overly animated when you're speaking, but you should, from in my experience, you should certainly be able to emphasize certain words, just like I'm doing now, right? You heard that? Just like I'm doing now. Like even that little bit is more colorful than like just like I'm doing now. You should at least be able to emphasize certain words just like I'm doing now. Excuse me, you look beautiful. Yeah, I saw you and I was like, I gotta go talk to her. What are you up to? Okay, cool. You're a server? Yeah. I hated that. Like, I really hated being a server. Sometimes they would tell me I needed to go clean up, throw up, and I was like, "You're not paying me to do that." You hear the difference, right? Versus like, honestly, I hated that. Like, sometimes they would even try to make me go clean up, throw up. I was like, "Nah, come on now. You aren't paying me for that. You're paying me to bust tables, not to clean up after kids yakking on the floor. Like, come on." And there's vibrance. Yeah, there's vibrance. There's energy behind what I'm saying, rather than it being completely flatline monotone, which I would kind of categorize as like serial killer vibes. So it's like you're kind of coming across, whether you or not you know it, you're coming across as nervous still, even though at the very least you sound a lot better than the guy who's going up very unsure of himself. So like flatline monotone serial killer vibes, in my opinion, sounds much better than like super unsure, super unconfident vibes. Excuse me? Hi, sorry. Hi. Um you look beautiful. Like yeah, I passed you and I just had to come over and say like, "Wow, what are you up to?" Yeah, you're a server? Nice. Like that I would avoid at all costs, right? So like that's bottom of the barrel approaching. But, flatline monotone is at least better than that, but, like, we can take it a step further, certainly. And I guarantee you, this is a guy he puts in a lot of reps, and it's only recently that I've been actually critiquing what he's doing because now he's providing me with audio infields and stuff. And so, it's a lot more difficult to be able to pick up on this stuff when he's just typing out the breakdown of the approach on the school post, and I'm just reading it. I'm reading it with my own internal monologue, and I'm reading it with energy and vibrance, right? He's typing the words on the screen, and I'm reading it as though I was saying it. But when I'm actually hearing him say it, I'm going, all right, well, here's a place where we can certainly improve, right? How could I have known that you were doing this the whole time, right? So it's like, so yeah, I would just say to that person that I'm speaking to, and just to everybody, especially if you're able to get some audio of your conversations, it's like, yeah, there's just a certain way. I'm even doing it now, right? It's like I'm even doing it now. The words that I want to emphasize, I kind of elongate and I pause after I say them. Um, you know, if there's a point that I really want to drive home, even that, right? If there's a point that I really want to drive home, and I'm like, that's what I mean. Is like, I'm not telling you need to be overly expressive. Like even me, if I was to watch this live stream back and I'm doing all this shit with my hands, maybe that's more than what you would want to do in front of the girl. But do you see what I'm saying? Like it's more pleasant to listen to. It's more engaging. Certainly it's more engaging than somebody talking to you like this. Certainly it's more engaging than somebody talking to you like this, right? Like even just adding a little bit of emphasis on certain words is a little more like, this just sounds like I'm Eeyore, right? This sounds like I'm depressed and I haven't left my apartment in months. And so like, yeah, I guess you can go over an approach like this, but you see, it's even hard for me to do without smiling. Yeah, so let's run it back. So you're in the conversation, and you sound like this. Excuse me. Hi, you look incredible. Yeah, I just wanted to come and tell you that. What are you up to? Oh yeah, okay, nice. What you said you're doing work? You're about to go to work. What kind of work do you do? You're a server? Nice. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I used to serve at a restaurant briefly, and so I didn't like it though. I didn't really like it. They try to make me clean up throw up, and it's like, yeah, that brings you down almost. The viewers, I'm probably gonna have people click off during that, right? Versus like, excuse me, hi, you look incredible. Yeah, I passed you, and I was like, whoa, she looks good. I had to come over and talk to you. Wow, what's up? What's going on? Okay, you're on your way to work. Sweet. What kind of work do you do? Let me guess. Right. And now this is just me adding in my own fun, right? But this is just my style, right? What kind of work do you do? Oh, wait, let me guess. Hold on. You're an artist. You're some kind of artist. Yeah. You're like a world renowned painter, are you? Yeah. Oh, you're a server? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, a little there. I was just a little bit off, right? I was only a little off, but yeah, it's crazy. I was actually a server back in 2019. Um, Real brief, but I hated it. Like I was always dirty. I came home smelly. People treated me like shit. They even my managers tried to get me to clean up throw up a couple of times, and I wouldn't even do it. I was like, nah, you're not paying me for that. Come on now. Yeah, I don't know. What about you? How do you like it? Okay, yeah, you like yeah, yeah, I see. Yeah, I bet the tips are pretty solid. Yeah, yeah, I bet. That's cool. Sweet. Are you in school or what? You're just serving right now? Oh, you are in school. Okay. You seem kind of, I don't know, you seem a little bit like closed off and short. If I had to guess, I'd say like you're studying law or something. I don't know. You are? I'm a fucking magician, right? Now, this is me like role playing with myself, but you see what I'm saying? It's like just a little bit, just a little bit of emphasis, a little bit of voice inflection can go a really long way. Yeah. Rather than just speaking to her like this is your first time talking, right? So what did I write here? I said emphasizing your words is not feminine. Excitement doesn't make you fruity. All right. These are just a couple of bullet points I wrote down that I wanted to say on the live stream, right? So it's like, contrary to what red pill dogma might tell you, emphasizing your words, just like I'm doing now, does not make me a little feminine bitch. Yeah. And getting excited within the conversation does not make you fruity, does not make you feminine because you're getting excited. And I mean, sure, we could say the most alpha masculine guy has no emotion and he can just get in front of the girl and she's doing all the laughing and he's not even smiling and he's just saying something funny and then she's laughing at it and this and that. And maybe the deadpan adds to the humor. Sure, but that's just not me. Yeah, that's just not me. I am a bit more expressive. I am a bit more animated. That's just who I am. That's just how I've grown up and who I've shaped myself into. I'm a bit more animated when I am into what I'm saying. Certainly on this channel, I get a way more animated than I really ever get in front of girls. because I actually believe in what I'm talking about here. Yeah, it's not like I'm not just having get to know you talk with a girl on a date. It's like I'm trying to create a movement here, right? I'm trying to change lives here. And so it makes sense that I'd get more animated, right? But it's like this is the same guy that has the fucking loads of date breakdowns on the channel. So that should be clear evidence that emphasizing your words and getting excited in conversation doesn't make or break, or I guess doesn't mean that it'll lead to failure. Yeah, like contrary to what a lot of the red pill creators might tell you about, be emotionless, have no emotion, yeah, talk monotone, talk like a robot because that's the most masculine way you can talk. Also, I could even be phrasing this wrong because I don't know if that's kind of their angle. I think their angle is honestly, targeted towards the guys that are doing this very poorly, that are, oh yeah, wow, you look so good, wow, and they're talking like that. So it makes sense what they're saying, but don't. I guess what I'm saying is don't take that too far. Don't take that to mean, all right, I can't have any flavor in my speech, in my conversations. There can't be any sort of a fun kind of tone or vibe or silly tone or vibe. Not at all. Not the case at all. Um, So yeah, I mean, you see me, you hear me. For those of you who watch my streams and my infields, you hear me, right? It's like you'll watch me get a date lined up on camera for you, and I don't do it by speaking in a very monotone way. Not to say you can't, but that's just not what I do. I don't do it by giving off the serial killer vibes. I do it with a little mixture of both. Yeah, with like the beginning is usually a little less the beginning is a little more calm typically, right? So it's more like, excuse me, hey, how's it going? You look beautiful. Like, wow. I saw you and I was like, wow, what's up? What are you up to? Yeah. So far we're fairly monotone there, right? But then as soon as she says something that I get a light bulb moment where I can make it funny or I could crack a joke about it or whatever, right? So like most recently, go watch the most recent one where I crossed the street to approach the girl, and I go, yeah, you look so beautiful. So, anyways, what are you up to? She starts responding, and then as she's getting ready to reply to me and she's starting to say a sentence, I clock the Patagonia bag that she's wearing, and I go, "Oh, you're not from here, are you?" Yeah, I could tell. And then all of a sudden my voice gets higher, right? I get more animated. There's more excitement into the conversation. I go, "You're not from here." "No, you got a Patagonia bag. Come on, I can tell." Right? So that's in theory, that's upward inflection, exciting, excitement type language that people say you cannot have in your conversations. Yet, if you watch the conversation, you notice it makes it way more fun. It whatever awkward first few second tension there was, it like breaks it wide open. And now all of a sudden she's like having fun in the conversation. There's like a few things that happen, right? She realizes that she's not going to be questioned interview style. She realizes that I'm not just like a very standard, so who are you? Where are you from? Why do you do what you do? What do you do? Nice. Why'd you choose that? And like all of a sudden it's like a break from reality. But also on top of all that, right? I get a little bit excited. My voice gets a little bit higher, and I go, is that a Patagonia um, man purse, or what did I say? Fanny pack? You got a fanny pack from Patagonia? Yeah, you're a tourist. Oh no, don't even. I could tell. Don't even worry. I could tell you are. Yeah. So that's what emphasizing your words or getting excited doesn't make you, oh, you're less masculine. You're less of a man. And in my experience, it actually makes the conversation a lot more fun and a lot more easy and fluid. Yeah. So especially if you're just now getting into this, now we pan over to somebody like Joseph. Now I haven't watched or heard a whole bunch of his infields, but when I was in Barcelona with him, I noticed that he's just got this cool, calm, collected, chill, laid back kind of a vibe during his approach. And so a person like that probably could get away with the entire approach, not getting animated or excited at all. But it's like that's his personality, right? He's a very interesting and like well-educated person, and he probably I don't once again I haven't listened firsthand to many of his approaches, but what I will say is he could probably introduce fun topics and stuff without needing to get excited or animated. This is just what I do, right? This is my genuine natural reaction to when something fun arises in a conversation. I go, is that a Patagonia bag? Oh, get out of here. Like, come on, get out of here, right? Now, you could have just as easily tried to introduce fun, but instead did it in a very monotone way where you're going, yeah, what are you up to? Wait, is that a Patagonia bag? You're a tour. Like even that's not that bad. It's especially if you do, the delivery is probably the key in that case because you give a deadpan and you say that. I mean, honestly, that still might get a laugh, but it's like, it just sounds a little bit somber and sad. And you're going, that a Patagonia bag? Oh, you are a tourist. You are a tourist. That's a Patagonia bag. Yeah, you're not from here. And so, anyways, where are you from? What country? Oh, okay. And it just sounds a little boring. Does that make sense? I know I'm running in circles here, but I'm trying to hammer the point from different angles. So, okay, what else we got? We got some people in the chat. Let's see. Firstly, what up, Mo? What up, Urban? What up, Jay? We got some familiar faces in the chat. We'll get into the second part, which is going to be a bit shorter, but it's about enunciating your words. But let's talk about what do we have in the chat. So Mo says hi. Hi. Urban says some guys try too hard to sound sexy with a deep voice and come across boring. It's better to let go of that and be authentic. I get it. Yeah, I completely agree. And honestly, I'd say I was definitely that person early on where I was just experimenting with a bunch of different like speech patterns and voice intonations, and I was trying to figure it. But I mean, honestly, a lot of the coaching that I got in Poland ironed all of that out really quickly. Like I was able to realize that I can just be myself I guess that's like kind of what I'm getting at here is to a certain extent, you can just be yourself in the conversation. So I guess if you are somebody that is just very monotone, stone-faced, kind of like doesn't have much emotion in their conversations, I'm not necessarily saying that that's not going to ever work out for you, but I guess if I'm speaking to a person that is putting a lot of reps in with this but not yielding many results at all, and it's been months of reps, then there are some things that we can start to look at and try to tweak a bit and go, well, let's add a little bit of color to your voice when you're speaking and see if that makes a difference. Because something tells me that might be part of the problem. Yeah, maybe part of the reason why you keep getting blown out or girls keep brushing you off is because maybe within the first 30 seconds of the conversation, there's been no change. There's been no vocal shift at all. And she's going, what is going on right now? Like, is this a robot talking to me right now? That could potentially be it. Yeah, who knows? So yeah, I agree though, where, a lot of that content where they say, what is it? Downward intonation at the end of your sentence, this and that. Great guiding, kind of like guide rails. That's great for like somebody who's just completely clueless and sounds terrible when they're speaking, especially when they're flirting. But yeah, you don't need to like try to take that to heart too much. A lot of it is just being authentic, like Urban says. So this is just this, there's a million ways to do this and yield results from this, but this is just how right? So Urban says she needs to feel you at the end of the day. Ah, there we go. Certainly she does, doesn't she? I don't think that's what you meant, but yeah, she does. He says, I was a victim of trying hard to be seductive. Yep. Fair, man. That's a fair point. And that's great because I think I even heard I think I heard early on a breakdown of you, Urban, and then I heard the more recent one, or I can't remember what it was, but I heard a shift in you just from like 2 audios that I've heard, or like I think it was like a video message that you sent months ago, and then that most recent audio breakdown that you sent over, and I was like, this guy sounds so confident and sure of himself. That's really all you need to communicate, is that you're confident, right? That you're sure of yourself, you believe in what you're saying. But that doesn't mean you need to put on a persona and try to be Mr. Masculine and this and that. Yeah. It's like if you put me on a spectrum of masculine to feminine, honestly, like, look at me. I got a fucking sure, I got a beard, but I got a nose ring going, right? I got an auntie type haircut, especially when I do my hair. I got fucking curly locks going down the side of my head. I got a nose ring that I'm rocking. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to wear the little polo sweaters and stuff, and yeah, and I'm not super muscular, super jacked. So it's like I wouldn't, I wouldn't categorize myself as Mr. The embodiment of the masculine. Oh my God, look at him. He looks like a Greek god with the muscles and the beard and the bald head and the no piercings and the navy like behavior. And nah, that's not me. Yet I'm still able to yield results. So there you go. I yield results by simply just accepting who I am and then presenting that in front of the girl and just being like, yeah, this is me. And I've accepted that and I like that. And so what's up? You look good. You Patagonia? Nah, you're not from here. You're a tourist. Okay. Jay says, yes, guys need to level up from trying to be seductive to just being a seductive person in the right moments. Authenticity will always win. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Mo says, do you feel guys get friend zoned or gay best friend zoned more often due to lacking intent early on or not, or due to tonality? You know, the thing is, I don't really talk with guys much that get friend zoned. If I'm being so real, what a line to say, but no, just being genuine, like, that'll probably start to happen more and more as I start coaching. But even then, it's like my life as of recent is just I talk to the guys in the entourage, and none of us are getting friend zoned at all. Certainly not. And then I got some boys that I hang out with in North Beach in this district in San Francisco, and they're all killers, right? They're all solid guys. None of them know about cold approach, but they know that I line up my dates in this way. They don't know about my channel, but they're just solid guys, right? So it's like you don't have to have ever come across cold approach to still be a very solid individual when it comes to flirting. So a lot of them were in frats. Yeah, they went to UC Berkeley, and so they're in frats, and so they kind of, I don't know what the frat life was like, but from what I've heard, it just sounds like you're the guy. You're the guy. You have the house. All the girls come to your spot. Yeah, so it's like, so they have no problem with girls, is I guess what I'm trying to get at. So I don't really hang around guys that get friend zoned. So I don't really know exactly what would lead to that specifically, but I mean, I guess just speaking from personal experience, when it would happen to me all the fucking time, which is the first 20 years of my life or so, that was just because I was acting like a friend. Yeah, like when you think about it, it's not even that deep. It's like, why am I getting friend zoned? Well, it's probably because you're acting like a friend and you're not acting like a romantic partner or a romantic option even, right? Why am I getting friend zoned? Because you're behaving like a friend would. Yeah. So, but then again, it's a little issues that in aggregate become a bigger problem. So that could be part of it, but I don't really have a good answer for that. Aditya says tonality should have variation, especially in the beginning. Yeah, that once again, it's like we could honestly talk about this topic forever, but at the end of the day, it's like I guess what I was trying to get across with this live stream is I'm not trying to tell you how to speak. I'm just trying to introduce that if you're somebody that speaks very monotone and that's not yielding results for you, then consider adding a bit more flavor to your speech tone. Yeah, in general. Yeah, it's like you hear, like if you've ever, I'm sure all of you watch sports and listen to announcers, they speak in a certain way. And I didn't know this until I got this job when I was 20 years old. It was my first ever sales job. And it was a similar role. It was cold calling. I got laid off a month later, COVID hit, whatever. But my manager, the person that hired me on, he told me, as he was a rock solid cold caller. He sounded so good on the phone, right? And I was like, where did you, his name was Dan. I was like, Dan, where did you learn all this shit? Like, how do you sound so good? And he goes, oh, I literally studied this. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I went to school for, or whatever. I took a course or whatever on like radio announcement and like calling out sports games and stuff. And so you listen to sports broadcasts and they speak in a very certain way, and they're super intense when something happens, and when it comes down to the final shot, they're going, oh, goal, right? And they're getting all animated. And so it's like, those guys, I guarantee you, would be rock solid at cold approach because they'd be able to identify very quickly what's working and what's not. So it's like if they rock up with a very monotone kind of a energy, and they realize, yeah, this is getting me nowhere, then they know that they can, like, they have some vocal range, and they can start switching it up. I don't know where I got it from, honestly. I haven't always talked like this. I think it's just experience and sales experience, and being in sales for the past few years. I just learned that people listen to me more when people listen to me more when I slowed down and I started emphasizing words, kind of like I'm doing now. Yeah. People didn't really care when I was glazing over it and I was just kind of talking monotone like this. Yeah, people didn't really pay attention, or like maybe I would say something like filler conversation here in this kind of a voice, to to whatever, get past something quickly. When somebody walked in, it was they appreciated a genuine greeting, right? So like, oh, welcome, hey, welcome, yeah, welcome to Westlake, or welcome to this, welcome to that, versus, um, hey, welcome, good afternoon, yeah, welcome to San Francisco, welcome to blank. So yeah, I don't know, where are we going? We're just talking at this point. All right, Mo's got another chat. He says, I keep landing myself in the gay best friend zone, and it's a little frustrating. I feel like recording my approaches will, yeah, there you go. I can't give you speculative advice. I could try, but it could be a million things, Mo. But I just, if you're able to record your approaches, that would definitely help. And we'll probably be able to identify it with the first audio approach that you provide. So Jay says, I believe dudes are much more likely to get friend zoned from lacking intent. Always be intentional, so there's no room for her to think otherwise. Yeah, that's pretty solid advice. That's what I mean. It's like, if you just, that's what I mean. Like, if you're behaving like a friend, like somebody platonic, and you're just asking about directions, and you tell her coat looks nice, and that's the most intent you show. It's like, yeah. But it's hard to put somebody in the friend zone if they tell you you look gorgeous. Yeah, it's either you reciprocate or you don't. But it's hard to friend zone that guy unless he lets it happen, right? Okay, so anyways, the last part of the live, I kind of went on a tangent there, but so the other thing that I noticed from this guy's voice note posts on school was that he would start slurring his words at certain parts. I'm sure I do this on live streams a ton when I get super amped up and I start talking quickly, blah blah blah. But yeah, I would just highly recommend slowing down and really enunciating your words, especially during the first few seconds when you're trying to get her attention and dropping off the compliment. She shouldn't ask you like what you just said during that time, certainly, right? So if you're going like, excuse me, hi, I just want to say you look beautiful, and she's going, huh, what? All right, well, you already lost, right? But even once you get past that and now you're in conversation with her, yeah, like an example that he had yesterday was, he said, she said, oh, I'm going home to cook, and he said, what's on the recipe? And she went, what? And he goes, what's on the recipe? She goes, what? And then he goes, what are you making? And so I replied to him. I was like, maybe say something like, what's on the menu? Or just use whatever you would say naturally. It sounded like maybe he was trying to steal a line that I typically use, but that's just how I would phrase it. Yeah, if somebody tells me, whether it's a girl that I'm flirting with or whether it's my dad who says, yeah, I'm cooking, I'd be like, oh, what's on the menu, pops? Right? That's just how I talk. So I think in his attempts to kind of emulate that, he fucked it up, and he went, what's on the recipe? And she's like, huh? What? And so it's like, I guess that wasn't specifically enunciation, but that was more so like trying to emulate somebody too closely. But more recently, what did he say? Yeah, I think once again when he was trying to pull a line out of my playbook, and he went, well, you're not giving me much, so if you're not interested, that's all right, no hard feelings. But he said it like, well, you're not giving me much, so we're not giving me much, so right. And it's just like they jumbled together, and I was like, huh? And it's like, I'm not here to say whether that's make it or break it, but I don't know. I don't, when I think about what successful people in different industries, I feel like they're, a common thread is the effective communication, right? People talk about. And so if you're giving a speech on a stage, I'm not saying that this is the same thing, but you certainly are not going to be talking like that. Hopefully you've prepared enough to where everybody can hear every word that you're saying. So it's like, why make this any different? I just don't like to add confusion into the conversation. I personally, I hate it when I have to repeat myself. Yeah. So when I'm talking to a girl and she's going, huh? I'm just like, oh, I sound lame now. Fuck. I don't think about it too deep, but yeah, I just think you'd be doing yourself a favor if you slowed down and just said each word one at a time rather than kind of jumbling them together. But that was more of a minor point. I think the main point of this video, this live stream, was just the voice tonality and trying to critique that to see if that changes your results that you're getting. Because, in my experience, this is how I talk. And this is honestly, I sound somewhat similar in my approaches. Now, I definitely sound a little less confident during my approaches. Makes sense. Right? It's like right now I'm in my mother's kitchen talking to a camera, talking to a webcam. I got nobody listening in on me, no audience aside from people virtually that I can't even see physically. So it makes sense that this is a lot less pressure, a lot of a lower pressure environment than if I was in front of a girl with a sidewalk audience full of people and she's cute and she's waiting for me to say something. And it's like, well, it makes sense why your voice would naturally get a little more unsure of yourself. But even that you can work on through reps. You can iron that out. So if you go to my earliest infield, you'll notice that happened a lot more recently. Oh, I have the perfect example for you boys. In the next infield that I'll be dropping, the very first approach of that infield was like one of my best approaches because I just sounded so firm during the entire thing. I had her laughing the entire time. And it was like everything sounded so witty. It was great. I really enjoyed I enjoyed that conversation that I had with her. So you'll get to see that, but that you'll see what I mean. So in that conversation, not to give too much away, but in that conversation, I remember first few lines that I said were very monotone, right? I go over, excuse me. Hey, how's it going? Good. Good. You look, you look so good. I just had to come over and say hi. She goes, yeah, thank you. Wow. Oh my God. Thank you. I go, what are you up to? And then as she's telling me something about what she does, I go, so, right, we've been monotone up until this point. And then I notice she has a vape in her hand, right? So as she's telling me what she does, blah, 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 I'm like, wait, and you're holding a vape? Whoa, whoa, whoa. They don't let that on the plane, right? She tells me she's a flight attendant. I go, whoa, they don't let that on you can't have that on a plane, right? And so it's like my voice gets all animated and high and excited, which some guys in some corners of the internet would say, he's gay. Haha. Oh my God, he's not masculine. He's a soft boy. Oh my God. Yet she's loving the approach. The flirty fireworks are everywhere. Yeah, I'm telling her she looks amazing and she's blushing and she's covering her mouth with her hand. So that's what I mean. You don't have to, it's not a one size fits all, but yeah, I guess, yeah, in my experience, just play with your vocal range a bit and see if that makes a difference if you're running into a wall. Now, if you're getting loads of dates by just speaking monotone, don't change a thing. If that's working for you, keep doing it, right? So anyways, boys, that's all the comments we got. That's about all I had to talk about today. Gonna ice the finger a bit more, dude. This thing is just it low-key is blue now, huh? I think we're okay. Yeah, it's kind of blue. Don't roast my crooked pinky, all right? I think you boys have already seen this. If not, allow me to expose myself. But no, the focus was on the fucking blue finger that I got. Look at that. Jesus. That shit hurt. Anyways, boys, appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you for adding your thoughts and questions in the comment section. Feel free to continue posting on school. Those audio infields are money, man, because they allow me to really hear into what you guys are sounding like. I mean, still we're missing the biggest part of this, which is the what I could actually see. Unfortunately, we're not working together one-on-one. So if once that comes into play and I'm actually coaching you guys, that'll take you from 0 to 1 so much faster, because I'll be there in real time. I'll have the headphones in and you'll have the mic on you and hidden so I could hear what you're saying. I'll visibly be watching what you're doing and I'll be able to give you feedback in real time, and we'll be able to correct that on the very next approach. It's like the progress will be exponential. So anyways, boys, appreciate you for watching. We'll talk soon. As always, going for your approaches because life